Okay, are we live? The second attempt, my second ever live YouTube broadcast using CameraFi. I have to use this app because I don't have the subscribers in order to be able to use YouTube's live. So I have to kind of go around the bend and do that. So is anybody out there? Does anybody care? Everybody's got, well, my YouTube channel notifications just always just seem to go bling, 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 bling. How's everybody doing? Can anybody hear me? I can't even tell if my microphone is on. Oh, it only lights up when I'm talking. Okay, I understand. I wonder... Let me try something. Now it's all the way up. This is a test, a live screen, or a live broadcast test. Can you hear me now? Can you see me now? I'm going to have to play with this a little bit in order to refine it. This is the free version. This is not the paid-for version. If you go and look at my, I've started making walking videos. I use two different things. I use my GoPro. This is one of the things. But the problem with the GoPro is I have to download it to my laptop, and my laptop is in the shop. It's getting a new cooling fan put in. I also have a selfie stick, which is in the other room, and my phone. And I use them both kind of interchangeably. I'll use my GoPro more as I get, my laptop back. But the phone does a pretty good job. What about my channel? Well, my channel was started really as a Bible teaching and preaching channel. That's what it started off as. Because I love to teach the Bible. That's just something I love to do. I can't help it. It's like, it's inside of me to do Bible teaching. I've been studying the Bible now for almost 40 years. That's what it started. And I started to get a lot of, for me, I thought that was a lot, but a lot of people were watching them. And I got several comments on that. I'm not afraid to back off of controversy, especially if it's a controversial subject. You know, what does the Bible have to say about it? That's, you know, I'll go and look through the scriptures, and, you know, I'm not going to give you just a pat answer that, well, you know, just trust God. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you an actual answer. For example, monuments on Mars. Well, you know, I've seen some very, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they're there. You know, things that just do not, you know, shape naturally. And I even did a couple of videos called Serpents of Mars. The first one was over an hour long, and it just wasn't about the serpents. It was about other things that were there that was in in several pictures taken by the Mars Curiosity rover. And I did one on Antarctica because, you know, I have a friend of mine, well, I'm a subscriber to his channel, I should say. It's called The Adventures of the Hendersons. And it's about Dwayne and Lovely May. Dwayne is an American who, for 8 months of the year, works in Antarctica. So, but one day I was just looking at where he worked on Google Earth, and it'll show you McMurdo station where he works. And I decided just to go and just follow the coastline, because, you know, Antarctica is really, 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 you know, strange. You know, you don't know anything about it. It's a continent on the very southern part of the globe that's just frozen in ice. So you just go along, and then I was just going along, and I found something I thought was strange. So it's about 2,000 kilometers away from McMurdo Bay. And I found things in there that just as you zoom in, you start seeing squares, rectangles, circles, just like as if you were looking at McMurdo Bay or McMurdo Station there in Antarctica. You see those things, the Quonset hut. You'll see these things. You'll see stair steps, things that look like storage areas and oil storage areas, you know, and all these kind of things. So I did a video on that, and I don't believe aliens did that. But I do believe that the ancient world before the flood was as highly advanced or even more advanced than we are today. I mean, these were really smart people if you come and think about it. One, you know, they, within the second generation, they're already building cities. They're building cities. They're building that requires, you know, civil engineering. They're working metals, iron, steel, gold. You know, they're already working metals. They are farming. They are animal husbandry. They started music. You know, and you have, within the second generation, this is going on. And so you got to figure, you know, they're really pretty smart to be able to figure out. No. Okay, there we go. In order to figure out how to do that. Music is mathematics. Building a city is mathematics. It's all mathematics. So they had to have a high degree of a mathematical mind. You know, they just weren't running around in sheepskins and, you know, and throwing rocks at each other. They learned the art of war during that time. They learned how to make weapons during this. And this is before the flood. You know, 1,700 years from the time, by the time Adam was kicked out of the garden to the flood. And you got to remember, these people lived extremely long lives. So you can imagine if you lived 800 years and your wife lived 800 years, you can imagine how many kids you can have in 800 years. And then their kids the same way, 800 years, you know, and it just gets on. You could have, within the first 500 years, you could probably have 1 million people or more. And you got to remember, it doubles exponentially every generation. It doubles. The estimates range from 1 trillion to about 10 billion people were on the earth at the time of the flood. You know, they're doing all kinds of things. And Solomon writes, and in Ecclesiastes 1:9 says, let's go look it up. It's late. I usually am asleep by now. So Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that has been, I can barely read here, I don't have my glasses. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which hath been done is that which shall be done. There is nothing new under the sun. In other words, what we think is great and wonderful and great new inventions, well, guess what? It's already been done. The idea that that you can cross species. So you can get a cow and a water buffalo. They are, because they come from the same kind, they could mate. But you cannot get a cow and a deer to mate. Nothing will come of it. A horse and a donkey, they can mate. The result is what's called a mule. Dogs, of all the family of dogs, including wolves, can mate with each other because they are of that family. But you cannot get a dog mate with a cat. You get nothing. So the kinds can mate together. All humans, there's not a white species and there's not a black species or an Asian species. You know, that's not a species. You know, just because you have certain traits and different color to your skin doesn't mean you are a species. You know, you are human. And any man and any woman from anywhere in the world can mate and have children. So we're not, you know, we're not several species. We are what's called races. Like there are different races of dogs, and yet they can still mate together. You know, bad analogy, I guess. But the point I'm making is these people were smart. And they had help. This is a time during the time of Jared, before the flood, during the time of Jared. You can look it up in your, you know, where he is in, you know, you have Noah, Seth, you know, and so on. You can find where Jared is, and you can actually figure the timeline and how far down the timeline that was. And Jared, and I have that somewhere here. I have made up a timeline, and using known dates for AD and BC, the known dates. These are dates that are known and indisputable. By using that, you can go backward to the flood. And by using Adam to Noah, you can figure that time. But anyways, these people were smart, and they had help from fallen angels. You know, there was a group of fallen angels that, you know, they were called watchers. And you find the term watchers throughout the Old Testament, even during the time of, you know, during the time of Ahab, which is a king of the northern kingdom of Israel, and Daniel, you know, where Daniel's already taken into Babylon during the first exile. Basically Nebuchadnezzar went to Jerusalem, and he said, I'm going to take all of these people back with me. And the rest of you can stay, and you, so-and-so, are now going to be the king. So that's where Daniel went. He went on the first expedition the Babylonians had to Jerusalem, which was around, 500 BC? So, around 500 BC. But you have the term watchers there. And watchers are a type of angelic part of, you know, they had a job to do. And their job is to watch over the earth and to guide men. That's what it was. They were to guide men. You know, and there's a countless number of watchers. There's still watchers up there. And about 200 of them, now the book of Enoch is not canon. But it explains, when you look at it, it explains what's going on in Genesis chapter 6. Where it says the sons of God, B'nai Elohim, which is sons of God, saw the daughters of men, B'nai Ha'adam, which is daughters of Adam. That's actually what is written. Daughters of men is written daughters of Adam in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew. And So you have the sons of God and the daughters of men. Now the sons of God, they looked on these girls and they said, But it was more than just copulating with them. They were there to do damage to the prophecy in Genesis 3:15, where God tells Eve, out of you, your seed, shall come the one that's going to squash the serpent's head. He'll bite him in the foot, but he'll get his head squashed. The Redeemer. So, in order to prevent that from happening, something needed to be done. And what it was an aggressive campaign of changing the genome. See, once you change the genome, you're no longer what God created you to be. For example, if you put a cat's genes inside of you that will give you the vision of a cat, you now have cat and human DNA splice, and you are no longer human, and you're not cat either. So you're not in the line of things how God had set them in Genesis chapter 1. So therefore, when you look at it, if you change your genome, your genetic structure, then you are no longer human, and therefore you are an aberration. And this is where we have the cause of the flood. Because not only were they mating with humans, but they were mating with animals and changing out the genetic structure of these animals. You said, well, Robert, that sounds ridiculous. Is it? We can do it today. Honey, I call you back.